access to the script to get started. I know that I just can't do it with, in this capacity. Okay, that's fine if she can go ahead and get started.
Can you not do it?
I apologize, everyone. I really do. I apologize. Just give us a minute.
Hey everybody, I'm sorry. I am multitasking and I was having technical difficulties in my car. But I came back in and now you can hear me, right? I'm off mute.
Yes, we can
Okay,
hear
it
you.
was not letting me get off mute.
Okay.
I am calling this meeting to order at 4:58. We will begin by Ms. Jones calling roll to determine if we have a quorum.
Dr. Robin Christian,
Present.
Alicia DeCrisio,
Here.
Brianna Mitchell,
I'm here.
Carol Dale, Taneka Applin, Mia Lawrence, Dr. Tanya Spurley,
Present.
Yolanda Jones, present, Mercedes Broadwater, Tricinia Wiggins,
Present.
we have a quorum.
Wonderful. That means we can move on to approving our agenda and minutes. These have been sent out to you. Does anybody have any corrections or changes to the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve this week's agenda? I'll motion, but I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor to approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. We've approved our agenda. Now please review the meeting minutes from, if you haven't, from the last meeting, and let us know if there are any corrections or additions. These have also been sent out. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I'll motion that we approve the meeting minutes.
I'll second. All in favor of approving the meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Mr. Crisio, give me
Yeah.
1 minute. Carol Dale was present. I had her mark absent. She was present at the
Okay.
last meeting. So let me update that.
Oh, on the minutes. Okay, so we're
Yes.
updating, that Ms. Dell was present.
Yes.
And are there any, does anyone see anything else? So do I have a motion to approve with that one correction?
Motion.
I'll second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. We have approved the meeting minutes, and we can now move on to our discussion items, which is our 2025-2030 strategic plan development. And we'll pass that on to Dr. Christian.
All right. Thank you all so much. What an exciting time. And so I will go ahead and dive right in because we're a little short on time and I want to honor everyone's time to try my very best to be done by 5:45 p.m. So we are at a very pivotal point here in our school. We are going to make sure that we are in alignment with Atlanta Public Schools. As you all know, our district a few months ago adopted our 5-year district strategic plan. And so with that, this is exciting because you all will be a part of developing our school strategic plan for the next 5 years. Oh my goodness, how exciting. And so that's what this next phase of our Go Team meeting will be about. And so we are Atlanta Public School System. You can go ahead. Yes. So who are we? We are Atlanta's public school system. So if you look at it, it makes you think that we're saying we are Atlanta Public School, but we are Atlanta's public school system. So that's huge. So we are responsible for educating and empowering Atlanta students to shape our future, and that is why we exist. I'm sure many of you all, if you've been keeping up with our Board of Education, we are going back to the basics. And so if you have not seen the latest iteration of our district strategic plan, some of you all on here were actually a part of a lot of the focus groups. They used cluster advisory teams. I mean, they had so much feedback. One of the things that I really liked about this process is board members were heavily involved with those school-based employees. I still remember where we had several sessions where we were in breakout rooms, like right with our board members. And so they received a lot of feedback. And so out of that came a community of believers and just getting back to the basics and the core of what does it take to educate and make sure that our students are ready for what's next. So the first thing here I want to make sure is that we understand that our strength is in our team. So Atlanta's students will have effective and engaged teachers, leaders, and staff. And so I'm not going to read through each and every one of these, but I am going to spend some time on the larger bold items so you all will understand when we get to the part where we have to make sure that our strategic plan is in line with APS's new strategic plan that will take us to 2030. And so with that, there's an increase in concentration of highly effective teachers and leaders, prioritizing engagement and retention for staff. We've already been doing that work here at BAMO. Grow and promote strong teachers, leaders, and staff. The next one is that there's a shared responsibility. We've always worked on that here at Barack and Michelle Obama Academy. That's nothing new here. And Atlanta students will have supportive families, communities, and partners. I can tell you that I see a major shift in just how we are working with our parents. We are working closer with our family engagement office, things of that nature. build meaningful partnerships. A lot of this, we're already doing this here at BAMO. So it's when I say getting back to the basics, is getting back to the basics of what we know make our schools better and stronger. And so our district also is expanding Atlanta Partners for Education. They have been around for a very, very long time. As a matter of fact, the person that's leading this, she long history I've had with her. She used to be with the Atlanta Families Award. And so they are using her to really work on how do we engage our partners across the city. Our system is efficient and effective. Atlanta students will have the schools and resources they need to succeed, maximize facility usage. And you know that we have been a part of that. Maximize facility usage for the student and community good, leverage data to drive strategic financial investments, and implement sustainability initiatives. Now, what does that mean when we talk about strengthening our instructional core? Atlanta students will have high quality instruction materials and targeted support, implement high quality, relevant, and engaging instructional materials and professional learning, target resources towards subgroups. We know that that is definitely an area of concern here at Barack and Michelle Obama Academy, and you will see later why we will need to continue to strengthen those efforts. Accelerate early learning. Here at our school, we already have a focus on early learning. We're very proud to not have one, but two pre-K classrooms in a joint partnership with the Sheltering Arms behind us. They work with our preschool age 3 program, and that is a part of Atlanta Public Schools, and they serve the students of Atlanta Public Schools and those that would be attending this attendance zone. And they are in the preschool program for inclusion. So we already have a pipeline that's here at Barack and Michelle Obama Academy. But this right here is just really about what the district is about for the next 5 years. We are caring for every child. Atlanta students will have trusted, supportive adults meeting their unique needs. Expand strategies that reduce chronic absenteeism and disproportionate discipline. We are already working on that. We were able to continue funding for a 0.5 restorative practices. We're very proud that we are a PBIS distinguished school. We are working very hard to continue to uphold those standards. And just today, I launched our MBA Never Be Absent club with our students that are exhibiting some chronic absenteeism. They have to go until starting Monday, November 21st, not missing a day of school to improve their overall attendance ranking for the next 4 weeks. Implement systematic culture and climate strategies. We are always working on that here at our school. So as you can see, this is really getting back to the core and the basics. Increase student access to trusted and reliable adults. We have the best wraparound support services here at our school. Our social worker, our counselor, our MTSS support, our PBIS team, and of course, our mental health agency that works directly with our school. We are sparking student curiosity. So Atlanta students will have access to explore and expand their passions and interests. If I could probably make that one of the boldest things on here, as you all know, we are about the arts programming here. Athletics, hot off the press, we are seeking approval for our basketball team. I think we had about 40 to show up for their first little interest session. I was like, oh my goodness, world language. We offer that. And of course, enrichment offerings. Here at our school, we offer probably just as many clubs and extracurriculars as any middle school surrounding us. Expand access to high interest and workforce ready offerings. So that's career programs and pathways, advanced coursework. You'll find that kind of more in your middle and high school, definitely in your high school arena. Explore specialized and innovative school models. So that is one of the things that is a part of the facilities master planning that they are currently working on. So for example, School of the Arts, looking at different innovative school models as they explore facilities master planning. Okay, so another thing that you will notice, and I actually am very excited about that, is they are attaching for each school, they are attaching what we call goals and key performance indicators. And you will start to hear this language probably a lot more over the next year or so, and definitely over the next 2 to 3 months as you all assist me in looking at our own KPIs. So if you've not got anything from this call other than school strategic plan, next 5 years, you're going to hear about key performance indicators, If some of you all were able to go to the Go Team Summit that was held a few Saturdays ago, I know that they allowed each school's Go Team to look over those key performance indicators. And this is that kind of North Star. And it is the way to really make sure that everyone in the district is on the same page, working towards the same goals. It doesn't matter what kind of school you're in, whether or not you're on the north end, south end. It doesn't matter, that we all have to work towards that pinnacle. So the goals for our district is by 2030, we will increase the percentage of third grade students scoring proficient or above in ELA by 20 percentage points. And of course, in eighth grade math, scoring proficient or above in math based on milestones by 20 percentage points. And by 2030, we will increase the percentage of students meeting at least one CCRPI college and career readiness indicator by 20 percentage points. And this is just pretty much, if you look here to the right, this is an example of how those KPIs will look. So you will have what is the actual data that's over to the left, and then by 2030, in the next 5 years, where is your school trying to get to? I mean, what is that? It's that North Star. And so everyone in the district will reach for that. Every school is different from where they're beginning. And so they want to make sure that we standardize our district. In some areas, you may be higher, some areas you may be lower. And that is where you all will come in as a Go Team to really, how will this look for our school? Okay. The next part of that is the actual Go Team School Strategic Plan development. And that's where we are now. So today it may sound like a lot of me kind of giving you a lot of information, but this is really about centering ourselves as a Go Team to really make sure that we understand what's going to happen as a Go Team over the next 2 to 3 months, because you all will have to, in the past, it's been the principle, we would take that strategic plan, we would make some tweaks, but we are really starting from ground zero. Now, of course, there are many things that we have on our strategic plan already that are things that we're doing. We know that they are working, and we want to keep those things. And there are some things on there that we are just like, you know what, we have not seen any results come of that. We want to work harder in that, or this is just not in alignment with what we need to do. So the first thing is mission and vision, and that's everything. You start, that is pretty much what you use to drive the work. What is our purpose? What do we do? What is our picture for the future? What do we want to see for our school over the next 5 years? And then the strategic goals is what results we want to satisfy our stakeholder needs. And that is where we get into kind of the governance piece of this. And that's where you all will play a pivotal role in this work. What are the main focus areas? What are our pillars of excellence of our work? What continuous improvement activities are needed to get results? And we know with that continuous improvement planning, that's pretty much like that circle where you will plan, you will do, you will monitor. How is it going? You will make those tweaks. And then the key performance indicators, I told you all, if that's the new 3 buzzwords that's coming out of this. KPIs. How will we evaluate performance to know if we are achieving the results that we want? Okay, so if you look over far to the right, you will see, for example, focus area. We are caring for every child. That's an example. We're caring for every child. What are those objectives? To expand strategies that reduce chronic absenteeism. So in the past, we pretty much had a lot of strategies in our strategic plan, but now we have KPIs that are attached to that our district says, as measured by Atlanta Public Schools KPIs, this is the percentage that we would like to see for our district in each of these indicators by 2030. So for example, here, how will you evaluate the performance of that? Percentage of students who are not chronically absent. I'm kind of just reminds you of like a SMART goal. And then at the bottom, how are you going to manage that? So you said all of those great things, but at the very bottom, how will you make sure that you are engaging those stakeholders to make sure that high leverage strategies will lead to the desired results? Who will do what by when? You have to create owners. So for example, what are some high leverage strategies you will need to lead this work? Implement multi-tiered systems of support. That's just MTSS. And then who is going to do it? Monthly, when is it going to be done? Monthly by whom? Provide consistent communication with all families on the importance of attendance and supports available. So I just want to give you a moment. I know that I've said a lot, but I wanted you all to just kind of be familiar with this kind of inverted triangle, because it starts very broad and then it gets very, very, very specific. And so we're at this first phase. We're at this mission and vision. What are our strategic goals? What do we want to see for our school? So we're at that very top. And then by the very end of this process, hopefully by December, so that we can be ready for budget, because we know that everything that we say we're going to do, we need that in place so that when we receive our budget, we will already have those strategies and those key priorities developed, okay? All right, so let's look at the governance piece, and that is where I just talked to you all. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so the Go Team Focus, you are here to help us with the governance piece of this. So mission and vision. We know that it's not been a lot of years here that we pretty much revamped our entire mission and vision statement here at our school. And so mission is, what is our purpose? What do we do? And then the vision, what is our picture for the future? You never want to walk into a place and you're just like, hey, we're just going to react to the day. We're just going to go ahead and buy this resource. It doesn't matter if it lines up with anything. And that's why it's very important that you have a mission and a vision. I can't tell you how many times people just come to this school and they want to sell us something, and they want to bring a program here, or they want to bring, visiting artists here. And I'm just like, my first question is this in line with who we are as Barack and Michelle Obama Academy? Because we know what we want to see for the future of our kids. We know what we want to see. We are all about developing the whole child at our school. So I remember last night, one of my students came and I said, wow, I think we're getting this right. She's at middle school now. And the first thing she walked up to me, she said, Principal Christian, I'm involved. And I just fell out laughing. And her mom said, she's too involved. That's why I had to leave your PTA meeting and go pick her up and then come back over here. And we fell out laughing. And then she said, well, it's one thing I want to join. And of course, I asked about her grades, and she said they were amazing. And her mom said she's doing very well, but she is driving me crazy because she wants to be involved. So I said, okay, mission accomplished. We want our kids to be engaged. We want them to really enjoy school. We want them to see who they are in this world. And so that's pretty much, we know that is our vision. That's our mission for our school. What we know our purpose here. And then those strategic goals, what results do we want to satisfy our stakeholder needs? And then the focus areas, what are those pillars of excellence of our work? And then what continuous improvement activities are needed to get those results? All right. So the purpose of this is to make sure that we cascade the district to, okay, so hear me out. We have a district plan now, right? So many of you all on here, you may have heard about, you may have been at board meetings, but our district, they really took the time, a course of several months, to come up with our new strategic plan for our district. Well, now we have to make sure that a district strategic plan, tongue twister, is lined up with a school strategic plan, or vice versa. Like, we are attached to Atlanta Public Schools. So the strategic plan that we have now, it's not in line with the district strategic plan. It's not that far off. We can find buckets where it may fit, but it's very important that we now look at APS's district strategic plan over the next 5 years to make sure that it is in line with our school strategic plan. And that's what we're doing now. The other piece is, in the past, we would do this year by year because we were operating under a 5-year strategic plan that was already approved. So now it's very important that we are in line, and I say we have to cooperate and collaborate while grounding our focus in the school's continuous improvement plan. And what I love about this is going to create seamless alignment, reduce confusion, and simplify our efforts. Because one thing that you never, ever want is a district plan that is all the way over here, and then you come over here to a school strategic plan. It does not have the same language, the resources, the capital, the personnel, the professional learning. You must have alignment. And of course, with what we know, we operate day to day on our continuous improvement plan. Our school's 2030 strategic goals and objectives, that's why this meeting was so important, must be updated, approved, and ranked by January of 2026. So we're going to accomplish that. We will talk more about how we plan to do that. Schools will focus on the strategies as part of that process. Okay, so as part of the 27 budget, can't believe I'm saying that. So as part of the FY27 budget and continuous improvement plan processes. So when we get ready to go into budget season and allocation and all of that for next year, we will focus on those strategies as part of the FY budget and FY27 budget and continuous improvement plan process, okay? So there are 3 documents that if you don't keep up with anything else in your beautiful Go Team folder that I hope that you all have created, there are 3 documents right now that's really going to help you to help me as a principal. The first thing is going to be our current, and I'm using the word current kind of loosely because it is as current as what we have. That is the 2025 school strategic plan, all right? So I know that Ms. Scott may have emailed that out to you all. Many of you all have seen this. It's definitely one that we've had, but this is our school strategic plan. We have not touched it. Many of you all that may have been on the Go Team, we would have used this to make certain changes based on the school strategies, and we would have ranked ordered those school strategic priorities. We're not doing that now because now we have to go under where we are creating our 5-year school strategic plan. So this is going to feel a little slower, but that's purposeful because we want to make sure that we take the time to revisit our mission and our vision to make sure, number one, we are in alignment with Atlanta Public Schools district strategic plan. So we don't want to have something on our strategic plan that is totally the opposite or just not in tandem with the right languaging, the right intentionality that's with the school district. The next thing is our 2025-26 continuous improvement plan goals, because that's pretty much what we have said in our school this year based on our state assessments and any other whole child efforts. That is what we're doing this current year, and we've already worked on that. And then number 3, BAMO school data sheet, okay? I will reiterate, those are the 3 documents. I know that Ms. Scott sent those out. So those KPIs, that is what we call the data sheet. Those are the KPIs for our school. And that's going to be very important that, that you all have those 3 documents. And so if you notice, each of those data points are placed under the buckets of the district goals. So we are strengthening our instructional core. We are caring for every child. We are sparking student interest. You see all of that is already in buckets. And so hopefully you have that. If you have not been able to print it out prior to the meeting, please take the time to print those out because you will see in some areas we are right on it. Some areas we are just a few, we are surpassing the district. Some we have a lot of work to do. And so that's where you all will help us as a school and as a principal look at those things that we want to make sure we place in our new 5-year strategic plan. Okay. So here, this is where we are right now, reviewing of the data, aligning the mission and the vision, confirm 2030 goals, create SIP goals to 2030, identify any additional goals. And I will tell you, I know I get in trouble for this all the time. You can't have too many goals, but there are some things on the KPI that we are going to have to focus on as a school. So we have to decide, are we going to embed those under strategies? Is different ways around it, but there are some things that we're really going to have to put some strategic planning around in order to meet those 2030 goals. And then of course, review and discuss any additional objectives and then approve your strategic plan and rank your strategic objectives for FY27. So you all, we are just at business meeting 2, okay? We are at business meeting 2. So this is important because we don't meet again until December. So you'll hear later how we're going to get this done to make sure that we are ready for our budget season that's going to be coming the first of the year. So we are at business meeting 2, reviewing of our data, which is our school KPIs, aligning our mission, vision, and our purpose, and confirming our 2030 goals. All right. Okay. All right. So let's take some time to review our KPIs. I don't know if we're able to, if you're like me, you probably can't see this. So these are some things, and I've looked at these many times, probably too much. My boss always says, Robin, it's a North Star, because you know me, I'm just a little competitive. But these are goals that were established based on the 2030 goals. So in the red, this is the district's goal, okay? And in the black, this is where BAMO currently is performing, okay? So what do you notice? What are your wonderings? Are you on track? Are there specific subgroup performance gaps? Outside of the instructional core, what could be a focus area? So I do want to give you all, maybe about 5 minutes, because I know some of you all just received this. Some of you all did attend the Go Team Summit, and you all were able to receive a copy of this. I believe all of them have been placed on APS's website. I know there's a QR code to every school's KPIs, but I just want you all to see. In some areas, we're right on it. Some areas we have a lot of work to do. And I want to remind you of what my boss, because I've got, I've knew about this document probably, and these data points maybe about a month ago. And she said, Robin, it says 2030. Because I was sitting there like, but it's 2030, and our district's goals are the same way. I mean, just our own district, in certain areas, we have to move up 20 percentage points. So if it can be done, it's a realistic goal, because if you think about it, real incremental change happens when you can move about 3 to 5 percentage points, or 3 to 5 points. And in many of our areas, we're not that far off for us to do that. And I think only 2 of the areas we have to go over 20 points. And that, of course, is one thing that we're already focusing on here. And that is our subgroup performance in special education. So we've already named that. It's already a part of our school SIP plan, and we are working very strategic. It just warmed my heart. Today, we started our Anchor Academy, which is our academic tutorial program. And I was just so happy to see going into one of our DEE special education teachers, and we're serving students beyond the academic day. So a lot of this we're already working on, but I will tell you that there are some areas that I'm very, very concerned about, as far as we're going to have to really put some deep strategy, because we're not as close as I would like for us to be. So I don't want to be the only one talking here, because I have had some time to really look at this and internalize this. But what do you notice? What are some noticing? So it can be good in different areas of growth, area of strength. It can be, wow, you all are knocking it out the park, or hey, what's going on here? So just what do you notice?
It's hard to see, but the category of like caring, we're caring for children, or caring, we're very close. And I was
Yeah, we got
wondering,
that right. We have that right, Adele.
are we able to see this for other schools, like schools? Be nice to,
Oh, I didn't have,
compare ourselves.
you know what, Mr. Creasure, I'm so glad you said that, because I have been so fixated on this data. My associate was like, Robin, if you can just put that down. Like, I have not looked at other like schools, because we kind of are, especially with where we are with, I know with attendance, we are an outlier. So if you look at like schools, our attendance right now is probably, we're kind of showing a slight decrease, because our attendance is up there with like some of the schools that are on the north end, or not Title I. So there are some things, I'm glad that you mentioned that. So I do have to get a kind of new category of like schools, because right now the only thing they would be basing this on is like economically disadvantaged. But we are usually an outlier when it comes to other areas of like schools. So I would definitely want to see if I can ask our research strategists to look at this and give me those like schools. And I would love to see their current KPI and just how many points off they are as well. So I definitely like that. And I like that you've brought up we are caring for every child, because that is one thing that I know that we have worked very, very hard here at our school. And as you can see, that's where we are, if not right at the district, it's just a few points there. We are definitely working hard at the student-staff relationships. That's always an area. As much as we are so happy that we've been able to retain over the last 2 years, at least last year, I think it was almost 99%. The year before, it was 95%. And so we're very proud of that. So I think this came from our climate survey, but I have asked that they put in the retention because I know that is a part of the district's new strategic plan is the retention of staff. And I would like for them, because that really should be right there, because people are more apt to stay where they feel like they can have risk-free conversations. And we're almost there with 4-star, and oh my goodness, like we were just a few points off this time. So every time I look at that, I'm like, oh my gosh. Anything else you all notice? And it could be, like I said, it's okay. I've looked at this, my feelings won't get hurt.
I was going to say the percentage students without suspensions, we're close to that goal as well, Dr. Christian.
Yes, exactly. As much as, that is our last resort. And when we have to do it, it's only because we have to follow the district handbook. But that is normally our last resort. We really try to implement a lot of restorative practices. And we have seen that our students respond better to that when we give them a second chance versus just suspending them. I've yet, in my 29 years in Atlanta Public Schools, I've yet to see a student that was suspended and that returned and that their behavior was better. I've just never seen it. Usually it's the opposite. So when we have to suspend, it is only because it is literally in our student handbook that that level 1 must be at least a 1 to 2 day suspension. It does not work. We don't have any research that says suspension works. And so one of the things we've had to do is to work closer with our teachers to help them understand that, because even as a classroom teacher myself, sometimes that can feel, like, wow, they did this and they didn't get suspended. So most of the time, our teachers now have really said, hey, in lieu of a suspension, can they miss, the PBIS dance or the PBI? So they are receiving consequences, but we are trying to avoid the suspension factor.
I think it's interesting that there are things outside of our control on here, like teacher
Yes.
salary and enrollment. Like
Yes.
we don't have control over either of those.
Yes.
So is that really not for us? We're able to measure it, but that's really for the district.
Yeah. So when we received this, that was the first thing one of the cluster principals said, hey, take this off of us so that you're going to fix it. I think it's just, I definitely don't control that. I think they just really want a snapshot at any given point of where a school is. But you are right. We cannot fix that at all. We just can't fix that. I mean, they can fix that, but we can't. So that's pretty much. Do you see any specific subgroup performance gaps? I know one that definitely is of concern for me is our proficiency with students with disabilities. And I will tell you that without a shadow of a doubt, I struggle a lot in this area because many of our students who are served, especially many of our students who may be served under the SLD learning disabilities category, and they are given that end of grade milestone exams. We used to have, a modified exam. They take the same exam that their gen ed peers take. And it's not that, we don't have high expectations for them, but many of them are working beyond the capacity of what their cognitive IQs have stated. They're doing the very best that they can. So we have done a great job of focusing on their growth, on milestones to see that. So that is why you can see down here, the growth piece is much higher than their actually, much higher than their actual performance, because many of them have done a great job in their growth piece, the SGP, student growth percentile. So they are showing growth. In other words, they are showing higher than growth than like peers across the state of Georgia. So I am very proud to say that, do you all see what I'm saying right here? When I look at subgroup proficiency, students with disabilities, that's at 9%. But when you look at it for growth, it's at 54%. Do you see that? So we are just 10 points away from that 2030 goal. So our students are growing, but they are not growing enough to be proficient on milestones. Okay. All right, so I just wanted to really name that. The same thing with our Black students, proficiency. So subgroup proficiency for Black students is 26.8% in that subgroup. But when you look at the growth, it is 76.6%.
And we're so close to the 2030 goal in growth. That's incredible.
Exactly. And that's by just, we see that everywhere. Like, so in other words, we are growing at a higher rate than like peers. So it's just that proficiency piece is like, oh, and that's pretty much, what our focus is as well. Any other wonderings? I know time is ticking. I knew this would happen. Oh my goodness, because I get very excited about the data piece and the KPI piece. Outside of the instructional core, what could be a focus area? Outside of that first block, which we know drives everything, we have the caring piece down, but what could be a focus area? I know for me, one of the things is parent engagement. And so we have been challenged with, and I know some on the call are going to assist, we have been challenged, and we are also measured by the number of Infinite Campus parent portal accounts that are being used. So we just got a report that it was almost like, I forgot what it was, but it was low. I mean, we were like in the red. And so what that's saying is that compared to other schools, we don't have a high enough percentage of parents that are really aware of just how amazing that Infinite Campus parent portal is. So at our upcoming parent engagement day, you will see staff members that are challenging every parent. We're going to have computers set up. Let me show you what Infinite Campus can do for you as a parent. I mean, it can tell you what your child's grade is. You get information from the district. I loved it as a parent when my kids were in Atlanta Public Schools, because if they said they didn't have anything missing, I could look on there right on my phone app to say, oh, yes, you do, because your teacher said you didn't turn in this. So it's that two-way communication. That is one thing that I know for a fact. We are always working on staff engagement. That is a big, big deal here. We have a school cheer team. This year, they're booing all the staff members. So we're always working on that, because that is definitely one of the moving targets just around public education, is to make sure that staff feel comfortable and engaged, because we want to keep the best teachers here. And I think we have the best teachers at BAMO. So that is a big piece. What are some other things that you think on here that we can work on? Okay.
Dr. Christian, we definitely want to get our school climate star rating up.
Yes.
We have a 3, and the goal for the 2030 is a 4. So we
Yes.
definitely want to work on that. And I
Right.
think the parent engagement piece will probably help increase that. If more parents are aware, then more parents are more apt to give feedback that they are knowledgeable about on the climate rating.
Exactly. And I think for me, when you break down that the climate survey, one of the things I notice is that our survey data is usually much lower in the staff piece, as well as some of our students rate. As one was really low, and I was like, oh my gosh, what can we do? I think I feel safe on the bus. And it was another one that it was something about the playground. And I'll make sure in our next Go team, if we decide, because I do think it's important for the Go team to understand how a school receives the climate star rating. And so I definitely want to, I think we're a 5-star school, but the data that you receive is the data that you receive. And so that pretty much drives everything. And then being a PBIS school also gave us extra points as well. So I feel very confident that if we look at certain indicators on that climate survey, that we can really think about what are those 1 to 2 things that we want to focus on to give us that extra boost in the survey data, to make sure. And of course, it looks at suspension data, attendance data of teachers, attendance data of administrators. There are so many indicators, because we know all of those are the things that really drive a school's climate. And so when it's that 3, it's that 3. And as much as you may think it's a 5, the numbers tell the true story. And so you have to make sure that, especially if you're in the day-to-day work, you have to be able to glean from it, fuss and cry about it, but then reflect on it and say, okay, what are those things that are really ranked low because the people have spoken? And so you have to be willing to receive that feedback and make those pivots to really show that improvement. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Okay. All right, so I know we can talk all day about this, but these are going to be those guiding questions as we look at our own mission, vision, and purpose. And so I'm going to try my very best to get through this. We only have about 4 minutes. I know we started a little late, so if I go over, I apologize. I'm going to try my best to get through this, okay? Because we do want to make sure. So at this time, we know that we are Atlanta's public school system, and why we exist is to educate and empower Atlanta students to shape the future. So next, our goal team is going to decide if we would like to update the school mission, vision, or any purpose statements. And so we're going to use this slide and a combination of the next two to look at our school's current mission and vision, and then share the current school mission and vision. Of course, ask any goal members to hold up fingers to indicate their level of satisfaction, and we will talk about feedback. Now, I will be very transparent. We just modified our vision and mission. It hasn't even been 5 years, and we were very intentional about that because we wanted someone, as soon as you would read this mission and vision, that you could really get a feel for the school. And so our mission, of course, is what are those day-to-day things that we try to do to make sure that we get to the vision that we want to see. So hopefully you all have been able to look at the document that was shared. I'm going to ask to go to the next slide. So if you look at the very top, you will see our current mission. And I am going to read this because I want to be very clear that this is what we strive to do every single day in this building. Our mission is to enrich, nurture, and respect all children as unique individuals. That was very important to us, while fostering an environment which develops the social, emotional, physical, and intellectual development of every child. Our vision, this is where we want to be. This is the North Star: to work collaboratively as school leaders, teachers, parents, and community members. You know, that is very big at Barack and Michelle Obama Academy. To provide a child-centered learning environment focused on high student achievement for all students. The vision is where we want to be. The mission, those are those day-to-day actions. Who are we? What are our actions? What are we about? What do we uphold? What do we make sure goes to the wayside? What do we confront? What do we not ignore? What do we ignore? That's our mission. That's our day-to-day. And so I want you all to just take a moment, and I think we can, thumbs up on the screen, thumbs down. Do you all think that our current mission and vision is one that looks at how does our current school mission and vision align with these statements? And I'm very, look at that. We to educate and empower Atlanta students to shape the future. We are Atlanta's public school system. Who are we? Who we are? We are Atlanta's public school system. And then why do we exist? To educate and empower Atlanta students to shape the future. Okay. Do you all think we need to change anything on our current mission and vision? Hello? What do you all think?
I think our current mission and vision is not broad, but detailed in terms of what the needs are for our school.
Yes. We were very intentional with this because, as you all know, I love so many things about our school. But one of the things that if you spend at least 5 minutes here with any adult in the building, is that we really care deeply about all children. And we are very intentional about our programming when it comes to students with disabilities, our neurodivergent learners. We are all about exposing all children to all children. So the care and compassion that we are about, making sure that all of our children uphold, and also what are we doing for those students who are performing at or above grade level? So, and the development of the whole child. And I tell this story all the time. I remember, and I can tell this story now, when I graduated from high school and I knew our only college I wanted to attend was Spelman. and our valedictorian was applying. And I knew that from Spelman, they usually only, admit maybe 2 to 3 young ladies out of a class, especially the high school I attended. And I got so discouraged when our valedictorian applied because she was smart, y'all. She was valedictorian, and she did not get in. And she said that, her parents wrote the admissions department, and the only thing they said is she was smart. She was smart. And she, of course, had a high GPA, highest SAT, all of that stuff, but she was not involved. And so we want to make sure that our students have balance in life. Some of the students here, some of the parents on the call here, I have the greatest conversations with their students, their children, because they will say, oh, today I have this, today I have this. And they're also keeping their grades high. So they are learning how to do life here at BAMO. They're learning on Thursday, I know I have drama. On Wednesday, I have chorus. On Tuesday, I have soccer. But at the same time, they're able to do life. And so that's what we're about. And we also welcome all of our students to be a part of our extracurriculars. It doesn't matter if they're in our autism units. Many of them are having parts in our upcoming production for the holidays. So we are trying to uphold what we want to see as far as the vision. And we do this through making sure that all of our children know that they are in a child-centered environment. And it's interesting that our vision plays out in where you see we are caring for every child, where that's where we have some of the highest indicators. Okay. All right. So we can always come back to this. And I know that many of you all just got this. So if you see this and you're like, 1 or 2 words here, I'm not sure, but this is not an old mission and vision. This is one that it may have been, if 5 years, we wanted to make some adjustments to make sure we were in line with where we wanted to be for our school. Okay. All right, so here it's about if there are any additional goals for the strategic plan beyond those identified. So this is where we would extend our continuous improvement plan goals to 2030. So if you look on our continuous improvement plan goals, they are listed at I'm trying to see, you all should have received those. I think they were emailed. So we currently have, okay, let me tell you something we did here. We currently have, we actually have more than 3 goals because we had to focus on our subgroups in special education. So by 2026, of course, we will increase the percentage of students scored proficient and above, but we also, and you will not find this in, I don't know of any other schools, we have added the decrease of special education students scoring beginning. So we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals already. Our district normally wants us to have 3, but we have 5 because we wanted to make sure that there was a clear focus on the decreasing of beginning learners in special education. And then, of course, we made sure that we kept our whole child goal because, of course, attendance is so important that they have to be here. So we'll always keep that as one of our goals. So we already have 6 goals here. And so if you look at the wording of this, the 2030 goals will read like this. So if you look at the bottom, by 2030, the percentage of proficient and above learners as assessed by the GMAS, which is our state assessment, end of grade ELA will increase by, so we will look at overall that we have now, which is 28%, okay? To, at that time, what we have to be by 2030, and we already have that document, which is 39, that's not it. We have to create that because that one was for ELA. The other one at the top was 3rd grade. So we have to look at what we need to have to be in line with the district. So those are 2030 strategic plan goals. So do you all see the work that we have to do ahead? And then of course the subgroup data, we have to identify that, which is already broken down. Now we have to determine which subgroup do we want to focus on, because many of our schools struggle with their Black subgroup. They have determined that some are struggling in economically disadvantaged. but we have to determine as our school, based on our KPI goals, which one of those we want to focus on. So for me, I can definitely tell you students with disabilities is one, okay? We can also look at different subgroups like economically disadvantaged, especially in those areas that we may or may not have based on the latest iteration of CCRPI, in those areas that we need to focus on for subgroup performance, okay? And then, of course, the one for attendance we already have. And then if we look at an additional goal, staff engagement, disciplines, teacher retention, AP course. So this is where we can already lift that staff engagement, and we can look at those indicators that we want to improve, which we're already working on. Okay, how do you all feel about that? Because we're already working on that, so it would be very easy for us to add that as one. And I do think, similar to what Ms. Jones said, that would help us in that becoming a 4 or 5 star school. Okay, I think so too. So I'll make sure we put that in the minutes that we are going to look at, and some of this, and hopefully we're kind of at the tail end where we'll talk about a work session. In that work session, I'm going to bring our climate survey data and look at each of those percentages to see the lower ones or the ones that we have a lot of room to grow, and then create those strategies, which will be a part of our strategies for the next 5 years, so that we can improve that to be in line with 2030 district-wide goals. Okay, all right.
And Dr. Christian, I do want to say, going back to the prior slide when we were looking at the 2030 goals, when you mentioned that, that's one of the key indicators was we were 8.3 points away from with staff members with 3 or more years of experience.
Yes.
So that brings into play our staff and our staff engagement, years of experience.
Right, because the longer people are here and then the longer they have more experience, they're more apt to be more engaged. And of course, that then goes into student-staff relationships, because that does take time. And so I foresee that will also improve. So I will tell you this, keep in mind that this is 2024 data, okay? So this is lagging. So I know for a fact, a lot of that is going to go up, okay? All right, thank you. Okay, so, right, so this is where we are. And so one of the things I'm hearing is that we definitely want to add that kind of, for us, it would be a 6 goal, because we already have that, because we have to have the literacy, the math, and then of course the whole child, and then embedded in each of those are the subgroup dynamics. And so we'll make sure that we include at our work session an opportunity to look at that survey data to improve our engagement. Okay. And so, yes. All right. So look, I kind of got ahead of ourselves. So we definitely said we want to look at engaged staff and student-staff relationships. So I can't type, but I know those are the 2 that we want to look at. Student-staff relationships and staff engagement. And depending on what's released for 2025, by the time we get to the work session, some of that new data may have been released, and we can update that as well. Okay, so if our secretary would make sure that we capture that, so that when we come back, it can be in the minutes reflected that we want to look at that for our 2030 SIP goals for the 25-30 strategic plan, okay? And they said no more than 1 or 2 additional goals. So I feel those 2 would greatly impact that work, okay? All right. Yes, strategic planning will help you fully uncover your available options, set priorities for them, and define the methods to achieve them. Yes, we know that. All right, any questions?
I have a quick question, Principal Christian.
Yes.
So I know that we said that one of the focuses was going to be on the SWD population, which I agree that that should be a focus. But I was wondering, do we have any data about how, like, trend data for what like ELL populations look like? Is there another subgroup that might be increasing that we could focus on as well?
Well, we don't have an ELL population. We don't even have one student. But I will say one of the things that as our students economically disadvantaged, they've just done so well here. I think we are probably going to have to add that because we've kind of hit like a glass ceiling that I want to make sure that we look closer at that. So I think it would either be economically disadvantaged or Black, because we do have a Black subgroup here, because of course we have more than 15. But we don't have an ELL population. So we're kind of, as much as we would welcome the diversity, we're kind of unique because we only have those 3 subgroups.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. All right. I think we are at principal's report. Okay. So we had an amazing literacy night. If you were not a part of that, you missed out. Hopefully you can attend next year. The literacy committee did an amazing job last night. We have, we're so fortunate for our partners at Kilpatrick, Townsend. Oh my goodness, Mama Koku was absolutely amazing. The sessions that the teachers held with the parents, exceptional. I was able to get to at least 2 of those. All of our parents left with make and takes that they could take home with literacy activities. We have partners that donated books to our school so that students left with books. Our amazing chorus performed. They did an amazing job. You should have seen the display of projects that were put on display for parents to see, all the way from pre-K to 5th grade. It was just an amazing literacy night, and I was able to spend time with parents, really helping them understand the why of literacy night. As you all can see, we have a lot of work to do when it comes to reading. I was able to talk to parents about Lexile scores. And at our November conference week, each parent will leave with their child's Lexile range, ways that they can improve that score. If they're already above grade level for Lexile, things they can do to continue to enhance that, and just the love of literacy. And we love math too. We're going to have I Love Math Day in February. But we know that literacy is the gateway to the world. I mean, you can't do math without literacy. So it's the starting point. I call it the greatest equalizer and the greatest divider of poverty. And so we want to make sure that our students are strong, that they love literacy. Here at BAMO, we try to cultivate just a love for literacy. Our fall festival is tomorrow. Oh my goodness, we can't wait. I have my costume all ready and on the ironing board ready to put on. So like I told the parents last night, I hope I don't have to stop at the gas station or grocery store. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to have to wear something to put on after work. We still need volunteers. I am so impressed with the number of volunteers. We even had a couple of parents up here today helping us to get ready for our PTA Fall Festival. We will be recognizing Ms. Roberts, our Teacher of the Year, as well as Ms. Hartnett as our Support Staff of the Year, October 29th. Before that, though, after that, we will go right into our Picture Bowl. This is for our early students that are showing very strong signs of being strong readers, love of literacy. And we will be competing on a little mock competition tomorrow with Dunbar Elementary School. So my sorority is doing some work with Dunbar. And so we're going to actually do sort of like a mock simulation, because for many of our students, it's their first time on the Picture Bowl for Atlanta Public Schools for reading, and we don't want them to have too many surprises. And so we're working with both media specialists. So our students will take part in that tomorrow to get them ready. And of course, my birthday is October 31st, Halloween. And I'm going to spend the first part of my birthday with the children that I love the most, and that's here at Barack and Michelle Obama Academy. And so my grown kids that have my 2 heartbeats are like, you're really spending your first part. I'm like, yes, because they're going to read these books. And so already preliminary reports were shared. We have about 140 students that have met their goal that will be going skating with me on Halloween. And then conference week, the big day is November 4th. As you all know, the students are not in school. And so the district is allowing schools to use this as a parent conference day. So if you have not received a call from your child's teacher, you should receive one no later than tomorrow. They are due, the conference schedules are due, but that entire week is going to be used. With the first day, we're hoping to get as many done as the 4th. And then we started Anchor Academy. Anchor Academy is something that we developed here to work with our students. One thing that's unique, in the past, we have only offered tutoring to those students who are really showing academic struggles or those students who are right on the cusp of being proficient. And so we're doing something very different here. We're working with all children. So we have some research-based performance indicators that our district uses that tells us where each student is as far as whether or not they are on the level from beginning to developing to proficient, proficient to distinguished. And so many of the parents may have received an invitation and said, "Oh my gosh, my child's invited to tutoring. You know, what's going on? Are they in trouble?" No, it's not. So this is 3rd through 5th graders. We hope to have money in the budget that we can begin something for our 2nd graders in the because we know that's the gateway to 3rd. Beginning in January. We just have to look at the numbers. But right now, we are offering this program Mondays and Thursdays. And I think today we had about 40 to 50 students to stay in 3rd through 5th. And so we're very proud of that. And this is how we were able to leverage the additional funding that we received based on leveling. The teachers overwhelmingly asked if they could provide support for all those students. And so I was able to get to every single classroom. The kids were engaged, the teachers were teaching, and just shows the commitment of our staff that on a Monday and a Thursday that they're willing to stay until 4:45. So it's 2:45 to 4:45. Very excited about it. I promised the students that they're going to go to Six Flags, that have those that have good attendance in May. And then they challenged me, said, "What can we do in December?" So now I'm trying to find something that they can do in December because we want to make sure that it's not boring to them or that they have a hook. So very excited about Anchor Academy. And I think that's it. I am going to ask Mr. Crecio if she would speak very briefly. I know we're over time on next steps because I think that meeting on the 20th, I thought that it was canceled. And if where parents can find any information of the latest up-to-date iteration of the comprehensive long-range planning, when will it be voted on, and just kind of this whole where are we now in this? Because I'm just so proud of the advocacy that our parents in our community displayed.
Yes. So yeah, real quick, I announced it last night and it came out through email and in the news that we're no longer on the list. So come out to the Fall Festival to celebrate that great news. And that means that we will remain open for now and beyond. In fact, I've been told that they want to keep us open not only because of the success we've had, but because of the growth that they're seeing in the surrounding neighborhoods. And that they're going to need schools, good schools for kids to go to. Yes, the last meeting was canceled. There was a conflicting meeting that was canceled as well. All of the information is on the website. So if you go to Atlanta Public Schools, it's like one of the first things that pop up, and you can click through presentations when the next meetings are. There are informational that was what was canceled, where they were going to announce all of the new options to everyone. There's another one in November. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but if you go to the website, it will be on there. And then they're really having school-based meetings in the community for those schools who are still optioned. So we don't have that. We don't have to worry about that. But the vote will take place at the December 1st board meeting. I plan to attend just to see how things go. But again, we're off the list, so we can celebrate and keep doing the work that we're doing here. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. So many of you all on here that advocated, spoke up, and I truly believe that your voice mattered greatly. So thank you. And that's pretty much all that I have, and I'll turn it back over to our chair.
Hello. Apologies. I know I came in late. Was trying to get the Anchor Academy scholars situated. We did principal's report. Are there any additional announcements at this time? Okay, so if there are no additional announcements, we have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time?
Oh, I'm sorry. We have to I'm sorry. One thing, I'm so sorry. I would like for us to have a work session, because without the December, with us waiting until the December, if we wait until the December meeting, we still have a lot of work to do. We're not going to be ready for the January budget session that we have to make sure that we're doing. So I just wanted to propose and I can, get something sent to you all as far as a doodle, but I would like to have a work session that it's not a Go team, so it's not as formal, but it's for us to really sit down, look at the survey data. I mean, we've done this in the past when we had to revamp our strategic plan. And so I do want to make sure that you all are aware that we need to have a November work session to make sure that we're in a line, because we don't have a Go team that was scheduled for November. And so I don't want to wait until December, because we will probably have to at that time vote. And I want to make sure that we are locked in and ready when we receive our budget allocations to be in line with that. So just wanted to make sure that was okay with everybody. I don't know if I have to take a vote on that.
Yes, do we need to vote on that, or do we need to set a date now? I mean, a date and time?
Yes, I would like for us, while everyone is on, to set a date. And we can kind of keep the same time, because I think that's okay for everyone. Yes, so November, I mean, yeah. So really I can propose the 11th or I can't do the 12th because I have principals meeting. And then of course I can do the 11th or the 13th of the second week of November. And then of course the third week in November, I'm pretty much open any day except November 19th. Yeah. So do you all want us to just do a doodle so we can get everyone's availability, or just set a date and time now and see if it's okay with everyone? Is everyone okay with November 13th as a work session?
I can make that work.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Is it anyone that is not able to do it on November 13th? Okay. So I will make sure, and this is a work session, so this is not a Go team. It's pretty much, we'll just be looking at getting ahead so that when we get to the December meeting, we're not feeling rushed to go from there. Yes. If you all don't mind, I would prefer face-to-face just for this meeting. I think just the kind of work that we have to do, it is probably better face to face. If it's face to face, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, I know some of us have to get off work, traffic. It doesn't have to be the same time as Go Team either. It just can't be during the instructional day because of staff members. So I can start as early as 4. I can start as late as 6. But I was thinking maybe 5 o'clock if it can be face to face. And as many face-to-face as possible. But if you just know I can do this, but I just can't do face-to-face, we can try to Zoom you in. But we'll always offer that, because we have to make sure we offer that as an opportunity. But as this is not a Go team, this is not a standard Go team, this is a Go team work session. Okay, so everyone is okay for that 5 p.m. face-to-face?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone not okay with it? And this, you're okay with it, but maybe just may need a Zoom option. Okay. All right. That's it. All right. I'll turn it back over to our chair, and I'll make sure that you all get an outlook for that information. I would prefer us face to face for this because of the type of work and hands-on and, just the discussion and input that I would like for us to have.
Okay. And is there any additional business at this time? If there is no additional business at this time, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions, please raise your hand. Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.